Hi, boys and girls. Today's lesson is lesson 3-12. And today we're going to work with different types of bar graphs. So, as you remember, lesson 311 we worked with vertical and horizontal bar graphs. So, today we're going to continue working with it with multi digit numbers. So, just bigger numbers. So, we have to use a little bit of estimation. Sometimes you might not get exact, but they're just bigger numbers. So, I want you to turn to page 199. It says use this horizontal bar graph to answer the questions below. It says how many miles does Shahid drive? Okay, so if you look at Shahid, you're going to notice that the bar graph ends at 250. Okay, this is miles driven, so that would be 250 miles. Pretty simple. So the answer is 250 miles. The next thing says who drove 100 more miles than Barbara? What you need to do is you need to find Barbara and realize she stopped at 200. It said who drove 100 more miles. So you would look ahead 100 miles to see that Aaron drove 100 more miles than Barbara. Some of you might also say, well, Jing drove more than 100 miles more too, but I think they're talking about exactly 100 miles more, and that's where Aaron comes in. So how many more miles did Aaron and Barbara combined drive than Jing? Okay, here we have a multi-step problem here. So it says how many more miles did Aaron and Barbara combined drive than Jing? So Aaron drove 300 plus Barbara's 200, which equals 500, and Jing drove 350. Subtract it gives you 150. So the answer is 150 miles. So 150 more miles. How many more miles does Shahid and Aaron combined drive than Barbara? Another situation here. You're going to get Shahid and Aaron, add them up together. So Shahid drove 250. Aaron drove 300, which gives you 550. And then Barbara drove 200, so subtract that, gives you 350 more. So 350 miles. I don't want to spend a lot of time on just the first page, but there are 4 pages, and I want you to be able to do a little bit on your own. It says, how many fewer miles does Barbara drive than Jing? This one's pretty easy. You're just going to grab Jing's 350, and you're going to subtract what Barbara did, which is 200, and it gives you 150. So she drove 150 fewer miles. And it says write another question that can be answered by using the graph. This is where you can be creative. You can say whatever you want that has to do with the graph. So let me push this out of the side, and you can go finish that question up when you're done with everything. I'm going to kind of fly through just a couple questions on each one. Here's a vertical graph, because the last one was a horizontal. So how many cans of peas are at Turner's Market? So if you look, peas stop right at 400. So the answer is 400 cans. Are there more cans of beans or peas, are there more cans of beans or of peas and peaches combined? So get the peas and peaches and add them together. You get 300 plus 400, so that's equals 700. And there's about 550 beans. So it says, are there more cans of beans or peas and peaches combined? Well, it's peas and peaches. I'm going to just kind of jump to the next page here because I want you to go back and work on these 4 problems after we're done. Here you're creating your own bar graph. Okay? You're going to create a horizontal bar graph here on the top part, and then you're going to create a vertical bar graph on the bottom part. So I'm just going to start the horizontal. It says we'll go number of CDs, or number of DVDs. We'll just say DVDs. And the title will be Joe's DVD collection. Make sure you fill everything out too. Then on the side, we would write type. Okay? So comedy here, action, and drama. Okay, let's just, because we're only going up to 60, it's pretty easy to just do 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Okay, so we'll start with comedy, and we're going to draw, they have 60, so we're going to stop right here at 60, and we'll just draw a line to 60, and then we'll color it in. Oh, went a little too far. Next one is action. We have 35, so we'll go right in the middle of 30 and 40. And that gives us 35. And then drama is 20, so we'll stop right here at 20. Not the best color in the world, but you get the idea. Okay, so the next one, you can do a horizontal bar graph. Make sure you title it, and then you write down on each side the type of bike and the number sold, and however you want to do it. Notice I did up by tens. I did tens up there. Here we have 200, 600, and 450. So if you're making it, I would go by 100. Okay, next page. You can work on that when we're done. The last page here, I think there's just 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. It kind of refreshes everything. It says use the horizontal bar graph to answer the questions. It says there were how many more visitors to Lost Creek Park in June than in May. Whenever it says how many more than, you would think it's addition, but it's actually subtraction. It says how many more visitors to Lost Creek Park in June than in May. June, there were right between 450 and 400 and 500, so there'd be 475. Minus what they did in May, which is 300, in the middle of 300 and 350 would be 325. Subtracted, you get 150. Okay, so I want you to work on the next 4 on your own. Go back and get out all 4 of these pages, knock out all the ones we did not work on, we did not finish, and then when we come to small group, we'll talk about them if needed.